Welcome, 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 welcome everybody to a Meek Message. I know I haven't posted in the last couple of days. My week of doing a video every day is over. What I can commit to though is that I will post at least once or twice a week. I can do that manageably and have no problems. Okay. I'm recording this actually really, really late. So I'm going to be quieter. That's why I'm mic'd up right now. And there are also going to be some pauses in the video because I've gotten quite a bit of downloads of consciousness that already exists in the world. I must always say this, there's not an original thought to man, okay? Anything that I say in this video will be for whatever time and space you're ready to receive it until you're aligned for your best possible timeline, okay? And so there's been a lot of communication, a lot of downloads, a lot of visualizations, dreams, things of that nature. And so I've only hand selected certain things that need to be live and posted to the page. Okay. So may this message find you whenever space and time it's supposed to. There are going to be some pauses, like I said, because I will be drinking tea and I will be gathering my thoughts. Because like I said in my other video, sometimes thoughts come to me while I am recording. Some messages come while I'm recording, and I oftentimes think faster than I talk. So the pausing and the breaks you're going to see is to allow that to come, the message to come through smooth, clear, concise, without the blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? The back and forth. Okay. With that being said, let's start. All right, let's start. All right. So before I came on here, I did hear the song. Usually when I'm taking a shower and I'm getting ready to record, I always ask for what it is. What am I going to be talking about? Like what should be guiding the message, just so I could have something to ground with, right? And the song came to me by John Mayer. It was Daughters. I don't know if any of you guys remember it. It goes, fathers, be good to your daughters. As daughters, be loved like you do. Girls become lovers who turn into mothers. So mothers, be good to your daughters too. All right, that's such a beautiful song. Okay. And it was just kind of solidifying the role of women in society and how important it is to teach your daughter certain things and to love her properly. Okay, so all parents, fathers and mothers who out there who have daughters, enrich her, okay, with the love that you have for yourself. Even if you guys did not stay together, guide your daughter because she's going to be leading future society, okay, and she'll become a mother of her own one day. And the strength and the wisdom and the I'm gonna say like the fertilization of her soil. Whatever you put into her is what you're going to be able to get out. Okay, and we as a society will be benefiting from that. Okay, their daughters are very, 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 very important, and they do learn how to love from their father figures. How does the father figure treat their mother? How does that father figure treat them? How does that father figure show love toward them? Okay. This is why it's very important that even if you guys don't stay together, that you show the daughter to have one, respect for herself and what it's like to be loved and also to show love onto others. Okay. It's very, very imperative. Okay. Make sure that you keep children in children's split places and spaces. Okay. They shouldn't be really, getting involved in adult activities, okay, or seeing how much disdain or dislike you have for the mother. That these things should be separate. Okay, and you really should not have this much hatred in your heart for someone you're co-parenting with because they've given you the gift of procreation. and creation, you in little form, okay? In order for both the parent and the child to learn and grow together. That's a beautiful love, okay? Learning, the love of learning. That's part of ascension, by the way. I know sometimes we think about all this stuff as something so abstract and like not tangible, but it is very much united. Okay. Spirit happens before physical. Okay. So for you to bring your daughter into this life, you must have really had some kind of bond or connection with the mother. The mother must have really, really loved you to create a female. Okay. Because that's a gift that keeps on giving, if you get what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah, let's take a pause. All right, so I'm just going to take this random page because when I'm actually in a meditation and I do get downloads, it literally, I just keep notebooks around and I'm just like, "Ba-da-da-da-da-da." All right, so here we go. First page up, we have, there is an illusion of separation. Don't try to be anyone's God. Okay, the closest thing to God would be your mother. Her conscious state while you were co-created in her womb, sets forth a pathway for obstacles and triumphs during your journey. Some will choose to be mad at God. This is why it's very important to heal mother wounds. Okay? It's literally like the story. Actually, I think then I don't know pinpoint one story in the Bible, but that's like the gist of what I get of when people are rebellious against God. Okay? Um, okay. Some will choose to be mad at God, not fully appreciating the joys of the breath of life. Okay, you can say my life is bigger than the state or city. Your life is bigger than whatever state or whatever city. Okay, Mogajua Yelo, you are bigger than this world. You're bigger than this life. Okay. All right, those of us that are part of the paradigm where America placed a flag on the moon, it was a symbolic representation that America has conquered the subconscious programming through illusion. Okay. Most importantly, the moon is feminine and highly connected to the woman. Okay, it reflects the rays of the sun. So sorry, like I said, this is just, I'd be just scribbling, but I'm just trying to make sure it's conveyed. So if the subconscious mind sees this programming that the moon, your subconsciousness was conquered by the Americas, right? The American culture. Okay, this is how you can now program the future generations, okay, through women. This is why America has such a great influence on the rest of the world, because subconsciously it has this programming of this illusion, right? This is why it doesn't matter where you go, you see people trying to either bleach their skin or appear to be an American standard of beauty, right? That was the biggest swindle of all time, okay? Let's see. Yep, and the women are in charge of programming the future generations. So that's why we're in the state we're in on this current paradigm. But we're going back. Okay. So yay. All right. During the force of programming of the masses, the American standard has been the force of programming for the masses in this current paradigm. All right. So that was that one. Oh, this one was a spirit that came to me that was had very much, they're very convictious. They had a lot of conviction in when they were delivering this message. And I'm not channeling that spirit right now. Okay. Like I said, all the stuff, the presence that took the spirit to channel is not present right now, but I am going to convey the message still. Okay. But how it hit, when it hit, it hit. Okay. And this was, I think, last week at some point. Okay. So it said, when I look at you, I see the love of your mother. When I look at you, I see the love of your mother. And if you say, my mother was a drug addict, a prostitute, or absent, I say, may I look at you and see the healed version of yourself. guided by the mothers and sisters whom recognize the effects of the descent your mother endured in order to make life in your life in a physical state. I'll repeat it, okay, because this was some powerful stuff, okay? May when I look at you, I see the love of your mother. May when I look at you, I see the love of your mother. If you say that your mother was a drug addict, a prostitute, or absent from your life, I say, may I look at you and see the healed version of yourself, guided by the mothers and sisters who recognize the effects of the descent your mother endured in order to make your life physical in existence. Okay? Oof. Now, this was a back and forth conversation, right? Because we understand that not all mothers knew themselves in their womanhood prior to procreating. There was a system done strategically so to grab younger women, right, when they're now still learning themselves, still trying to figure out what it means to be a woman in society without the laws of man or the religions of man or the cultures of man. And they enslaved them. They enslaved different parts of them, whether it be their mind, their heart, or their vessels, their womb space. Okay? We see this. This is not something I'm just making up. You can see this in society when you speak to some women who, even though they're older in age, they're still stuck mentally, stuck emotionally, stuck spiritually in a younger version of themselves where something was taken from them that they're trying to reconnect back with. Okay? But even in that state, they were still woman. So they're able to bring forth life. Okay? You may have had children, and that child may be you. And maybe the mother of you did not have the maturity to know what it means to actually be a mother at the time. Okay? This is when we have children making children. Okay? Just to continue on the lineage instead of giving something to enrich the soil with, which happens through experience and maturity. Okay? And oftentimes, even if you, this was not, I wouldn't say this, even a lot of times women follow what their parents are doing, right? Or being led by the elders in society who have had the same thing happen to them, or may have guided them thinking this is the right thing to do when really it was going against the maturity of the girl, right? Or the daughter. Okay. Instead of listening to what her spirit actually wants. You felt bullied through fear, bullied through expectations of everyone else around you. Okay. Or again, the abandonment of the woman altogether. She abandoned her vessel through drugs or whatever, for whatever reason. People don't just abandon their vessels for no reason. It's usually because they're trying to escape something, some emotional or physical trauma in which they no longer want to be present in their bodies or experience the life that they're currently living. Okay, and it's most likely because they haven't gotten down the path of healing, but sex is introduced. Okay, or they have a very high sex drive and no one was really guiding or didn't have a strong uh, masculine presence in which was guiding and protecting. Okay, because when women, there's nothing wrong with having sexual energy. That's a conversation you should have with your daughters as well, right? That you have sexual energy is nothing to be ashamed of, but the importance that is behind it. It's bigger than just if you had sex, you're going to have a baby. No, we're talking about sacral energy, talk about spiritual energy. These are things that we don't really, I don't think it happens in certain households. That's the reason why it yields the results in which it does. Okay. They don't allow women to remain children. That was a system that's also been targeted against women to overly sexualize them in order for them they can have really high sex drives, and then not able to mature gradually and find fully understanding of their bodies, not being ashamed of their sexual energy, but also knowing that the importance of it. Okay? It's a balance. It's a balance between masculine and feminine energies. Okay? But with all that being said, the divine consciousness of God makes no mistake. So your life was not a mistake. This is why healing must be done both by the parents and also the children who are affected. Okay, but once you guys move past all this stuff, there's such a world that you can create that's higher than all of this. Okay? Once truth is uncovered, you must move forward. There are teachers through love and teachers through contrast, regardless of their role. Live and let live, observe and align accordingly. May we rise, never fall. Give them the vibe, no notice. Okay? May love be the foundation of your security through all things. May love be the foundation of your security through all things. Okay? All things. Love for yourself is very, very much important for you to radiate love and for others to experience that love as well. Okay? I also said to my Africans that are separated due to culture and tradition, when I see your mother, I see my mother. When I see your mother, I see my mother. Okay? Respect. When I see your mother's sister, I see my auntie. When I see your sons, I see my brothers. When I speak of African, I am not talking about the continents. I am speaking to your genetic code prior to any frequency of scarcity. Hierarchy and colonization, I'm speaking to the code as old as time from which you were born. Okay. The earth is your dominion. May you seek truth in all things. That you do not lose your wealth to a corrupted spirit. Please, God. That's a big one. Okay, what did I say here? Marriage and compatibility. Being connected to your ancestral lineage may be being able to commit and submit to their level of consciousness. So when they have departed from this land, the connection in that union is still strong. That would require your mate to have already upgraded their DNA from the consciousness that wishes to oppress. Okay. All right. So, we were talking, I followed this woman called Gogo in Kianyezi. I love her teachings. When she speaks, she literally vibrates my codes by my vessel, my pores raised. You can feel there's a vibration. Okay, when she speaks certain things in certain times and space in which I hear it. So very, very, very grateful for her consciousness. But the reason why I wrote this thing about marriage and compatibility is because when you marry, you're not just marrying that person for their flesh or for what they can do for you or any of that things, okay? Or any of that nonsense. When you marry, you're joining ancestral lineages. Those that walk in the unseen are now joining another force, okay? And oftentimes they speak above our heads before we even get into that alignment, okay? And oftentimes, if you are physically attracted to someone, it's because someone from your spirit team was like, this is the woman, this is the one, or whatever the case may be, right? So when you marry, you're not just marrying that person for whatever convenience you think in your little human life. It goes way deeper than that. Okay, and some of us have been compromised by colonizer mentality. And so certain genetic codes based off that marriage, based off what you choose to do, because remember, you always have free will. Okay, ancestors are only on a certain level. Okay, spirit guides who are not part of your bloodline lineage, who are not ancestors to you technically, but they exist in consciousness, another state. Okay, and then there's God consciousness, the all encompassing all. So there's hierarchy as far as that part goes. But at the end of the day, in your physical vessel, what you choose to actually animate and do physically here is still at the free will of you. So ancestors can advise, higher spirits can advise, but what you actually do is on you. But trust me, they will also take a back seat if they don't agree with what you're doing, and you can feel it. Okay, if you're in tune enough, you can feel it. It's very, very noticeable. If you choose to operate in your physical only, meaning your egoic state of mind, you would definitely feel when you don't have that extra sauce in what you're doing. Okay, there's a background that you feel when you move in alignment with them. Okay. So with that being said, if you so choose that you want to marry outside of the blessings of those who've come before you, okay. And they're saying, hey, I don't like this one. I don't. They're going to tell you signs. You're not going to just, not know. Okay. And if you surround yourself with good hearted people, not one of corrupted spirits, sometimes they can be found in your religious organizations, okay, who will push you to do things against your alignment with God. It's a paradox, you would think, right? But remember, God is within. You can only get to God if you go within. You cannot go get to God by only seeking outside validation, outside approval, even from your parents, even from your religious institution. I know. Moving on. But like I said, what starts happening if you decide to use your free will to have a communion or commitment with a individual who is not accepted based off of their ancestral lineage, and they also have not upgraded their DNA coding, meaning that there's consciousness progression that's required in order to change energetic signatures in the astral realm. Okay, and that comes from certain rites of passage of experiences. And when Burna Boy says you are trusted, tested, approved, and trusted, that is something that's required of in alignment, right? Because contrast is going to happen in purpose, in for the purpose of seeing what kind of soul you actually are in the present state of time. Okay, so with that being said, if you choose to align yourself with someone who has not upgraded their coding, or if they can even upgrade their coding to a certain level, because genetics, okay, genetics, very, very important, and it's a choice. This is why you sometimes have people who are in melanated bodies of African descent, but they have chosen a consciousness of colonizers, okay, of those who are lacking this energy of being one with nature. Okay, what starts happening is you yourself will genetic codes will change to match the frequency of your partner. Okay, you may be a little bit, but it's all going to balance itself out accordingly. And you give up certain rights, you give up certain gifts that was allotted in your bloodline because of that union. Okay, because certain things the others cannot have access to. Okay. Now we are fully aware that this world is a mixed world. It's not just fully black, not fully white. There's none of that anyway. But what is definitely a choice is the consciousness that you choose. Okay. This is why some of the I don't want to say inorganic ones, some of them have upgraded to a certain level of consciousness that they will live on, okay, to a certain point, right? Meaning they have either found someone of African descent or with original people's coding, and they were able to connect in consciousness, okay, and they will live on through them through conscious passage, right? Because we don't need to actually have intercourse or any of those stuff. We can literally sit and just pay attention to someone, download their consciousness, and now that is part of us. So we choose to keep it, right? And this is why you see when you start hanging around somebody for so long, you start picking up their mannerisms. You actually start looking like them because your genetic coding is changing as well as your energetic signature, okay, based off the consciousness that you keep. You don't just stay one way all the time, okay? Energetic signatures, Okay, I'm talking about in the realm that we don't see. Okay, that's like the transformation part, right? This is why I may exist on a certain timeline where someone is trying to summon me or go to do some kind of spell work on me, but they can't reach me because I've already changed my coding because I changed my consciousness. Do you understand? That's how that works, right? And the level of magnetism can't pull me back because I've been already kind of passed through a certain paradigm shift. Okay, that's if you can understand what I'm saying. Okay, now back to the union and the marriages part. So yes, if you choose to do this, there's nothing wrong with that. You say you love or whatever the case may be, but there's certain things that union will not have access to. Okay, will not have access to, and it's strategically done so we don't put ourselves back into a situation in which we had before. Okay, Sankufa, we learn from the past. Okay, so nothing wrong with following love, nothing wrong with all of that stuff. Just know that you'll be capped with the gifts that will be bestowed. Okay. Yes. Melanated families. Yes. Bringing those gifts to the table. Okay. Yeah. I don't think people realize the importance of life itself and how many situations had to align just for you to be breathing, living, sentient being. Okay. It is pretty outstanding. Okay. So make your choices align with the understanding that you are valuable. Let me take a pause. Okay. On the same note, if like what I was just saying, talking about, is that your ancestors are the ones who bestow different gifts on you. Okay. So if they don't approve of how you're living, if they don't approve with the people that you're hanging around with, if they don't approve with the mate that you're choosing, okay, they just don't give you those gifts. That's just how what it is. Okay. I'm talking about ancestors who reach a certain level of their consciousness. Okay, who didn't get picked off by lower level entities. Okay, they have certain gifts that they can pass on to you. Okay. But yeah, you must be in alignment with it. Okay, because they can't give you more than you can handle. All right, so I think this is the last page that I was willing to share. When I sat down, I was like, what am I going to be talking about? So let's see here. But we have given it to Mother Earth, natural in nature, asasi yiduru. That's how you break through the illusion. You showed up natural. If you believe being natural means being unkept, it illuminates your level of consciousness. There's a natural balance and harmony on earth, everything in divine place, co-creating with the consciousness of God, whom aligns everything, people, places, animals, things. The earth is a school, it is a playground. All matters of civilization returns to the earth. Okay, we are not separate from it. Okay, I wish to see everyone on their highest timelines. Don't look back to relive moments in a state of emotion just to relive the situation. You only look back to reference the lessons learned in order to gain current inner and understanding. When that lady looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. Avoid being salty. Yes. Okay, I think that's what the lesson was for that story. I am for healing through understanding and seeking truth. Nothing happens before it's time. That's another thing. If you guys want to book a reading with me, please note that I will see you for who you are, not what you want me to see, not what you are presenting yourself as, not what you wish you were, but who you actually are. Okay? In the light and in the shadow. I do need to say this message for someone. Do not covet anyone's things. What is yours is yours. Okay? You do not wish to be like or have what anybody else has. Okay? And when I say this, you may aspire to, let's say, for example, if your friend got a house and you would like a house, but you don't want her house, that house was meant for her. Okay? This, as soon as you start putting yourself in comparison and competitive energy, you're going to repeat the cycle, one, and then two, you've already lost. Okay? Because that is an illusion you made up in your mind. Everyone is a reflection of you. So if someone in your circle have gotten something, it could be either it ignites your spirit for you to also attain to it, channel into that so that you can also feel the joy of having it for yourself. Okay? Do not, what you are telling to yourself every day is what you create your reality. Okay? And I think this is why, even though I really, I'm trying not to get into that egoic state about this, but when people say that there are many different gods, right? There's some people who worship a jealous God, and they will say it so wholeheartedly and confidently. And I don't know what to say about that, other than I am aware that jealousy is a frequency and a consciousness that you can choose. But for that to be your Godhead, you must be vibrating really, really low. And you must not have realized the presence of God in your own life or the power of God in your own life for you to really be thinking that God, some entity that can create anything into existence, has any kind of satisfaction in thinking that it lacks something to be jealous of. That's very strange thinking and contradictive thinking. I'm probably going to make this my tagline, which I like a lot, was that I don't have to put you down in order to raise us up. I don't have to put you down in order to raise us up. Okay? Okay? So all of these other lower level thought forms that give way, like I say, it caps you from your potential, caps you from seeing life in a higher perspective, and also your manifestations will also be just, I wouldn't say corrupted, but it always has going to have a tint of this nonsense with it, which it will eat itself up from the inside out. Okay, the only way out is in. All right, so really sit with yourself and really think to yourself, why are you giving this entity so much power, the power of God? Okay. It's actually one of the realms in hell, or one of the seven deadly sins, actually. This is why I mean, technically, if I'm thinking about neuro and I'm thinking about Nicole Ray's consciousness, both of these consciousness that I like to intake, I get the concept. It's just that if you are God and you're choosing to dial in on this frequency, then that is the thing that you're going to be creating repetitively, right? Because there's only one God. So everyone uses their God source power to create the reality that they would like. And so some people choose to live in these lower level dimensions where people are competing for things, where people are jealous and lacking and all of this kind of frequency. But I just feel like these things are cantankerous to your heart. I really do, right? For me to live in my heart space, that is very important for things that I manifest. Yeah. And not only that, your heart is very, very, very important to draw in, to be magnetic. Okay. So if you sacrifice your heart, you sacrifice everything. Everything. You can't just live in your mind. Ah, how limiting. Okay. In your heart, there's humility so that you can even learn more things with excitement and joy and the love of learning. Okay. And then your teachers get excited to teach you more things because you're not in your egoic sense, macho, papa. Okay. Prideful of a God knows what, most likely material possessions, not spiritually sound. God should be able to strip you away of everything and for you to still have the light of God within you, right? Your pride don't go under, your dignity, not really your pride, because the pride is a problem. Your dignity doesn't go under just because you are stripped naked of all your worldly possessions. All right? Because it is you who attracted all of it in the first place. the truth. Let me take a pause. All right, I'm not making a super long video because it's been like 3 days without me actually coming on here. But the next thing I wrote that I would like to touch on is that when people think that they are reincarnated from a spirit that has left a vessel already, okay? Reincarnation, or you feel like you have a particular connection to a consciousness of someone who has lived and died, i.e., maybe your star, like Michael Jackson. It could be, I know one of my friends had definitely said that she feels like Tupac reincarnated in her. What you're really saying is that you've downloaded certain levels of consciousness from this source. Okay. And so when you do that, what starts happening is that in your everyday life, in your subconscious mind, you start hearing that voice come in during different life and during life things. Okay. You've created a reality of that consciousness, and which can inhabit your vessel at any given point in time. Okay. So that is what we're talking about. Spirit lives on. It lives on when people are at a certain level of fame. They are giving their energy to many, okay, to then download, and that's how they live on. Because then if you keep taking a certain level of consciousness, you start thinking of certain similar thinking patterns. You may be in a jam and you may hear a certain lyric from that artist that directs because it already existed. You see what I'm saying? And they live on through you. They live on through you. Okay, I know a particular woman who's beautiful light, beautiful light. She's told me that she's one of Bob Marley's wives, which makes sense because she probably intake a lot of his content. Okay, and that she's able to project his spirit at will. Okay, the mind is very, 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 very powerful. Okay, but remember, you have more than just one mind. You have your heart, which is mind, and it was created first in your mother's womb. Your gut is another mind of its own, which sends signals to the control center, which is the mind up here, okay, your brain, okay, which has its own center of intelligence. The whole point is trying to get all these things in alignment with one. And I think last video I did mention, I know Neuro said something about the placebo effect and things of that nature. But like I said, I don't know. I speak over my food. I speak over my drinks. Especially since somebody tried to, never, not getting into it. Let's not get into it. We ain't going back there. That's all. Okay. I know one of your monitoring spirits are probably going to see this, but it's like, I ain't going back. But what I'm trying to say, get back to the story, is that the placebo effect. So if you are speaking over your food and all that stuff, but my gut is highly intelligent and I can hear the signals of when it needs particular proteins, amino acids. It literally tells me because I ask in my meditation, what are the things that you need for? And it has its own intelligence that tells me when it needs to prepare for a certain period in my cycle. For example, I would start craving certain foods, like, hey, I need you. Maybe don't even be a craving, honestly. I literally just gut has the seat. The gut is in the chair right now of control. I need you to guide me toward the foods that you need in order to clean out the system, repair the system. These are very important. So, I mean, I always reference this one story when I went to the grocery store and I literally said that, what is it that you need? What is it that you need? And when I say this, I'm talking to every cell in my body. What is it that you need? And I will go, and all of a sudden I'm picking up pumpkin seeds, even though I haven't had it for a while. And I realize, oh, this is a great source of iron. I look at the calendars because I'm about to be on my cycle. I'm going to be losing iron, and it needs to make sure that it has that in my system. Okay, so I do think there's limits to just operating in one area, one mind by itself. So if you just think of something is true, then yes, it will become your reality. And that could be what's happening to me right now. But I can tell you straight up that I did not half the time I don't really know what's going to happen. I just try to quiet my mind down in order for my body to do what's necessary to be in its optimal self. Okay. I don't want any of my cells being lagging, okay, lagging behind in order to I can vibrate at a certain frequency so that when I'm actually projecting, it's of a clear, and I can use each cell to their optimum ability. Okay. Okay. Lastly, I know I dropped some really big ones, and then you know what happens when I do that too, though. That's why I think I need to increase the frequencies because after I post this, I'm gonna listen to it and I'm like, you should have said this too, and then I'm gonna go come up in another video. So stay tuned. All right. Lastly, I'm just gonna say that your perspective is valuable, so much so that it creates your reality. Your perspective is so valuable that it creates your reality. Your perspective is so valuable that it creates your reality. So changing your perspective, hangman energy, is going to be directly related to what you experience and also to what can even attach itself to your field. Because like Nero says, shout out to Nero, I'm a big fan. And by the way, he's only 23. The last video I said, I know he was fine anyhow. He's not fine anyhow. This boy's a child, but he's very wise. This is another great point to what I'm saying. The children are teachers as well. That student-teacher relationship is one of, it's secular. Secular is not the word I want to say. I want to say circular. Like it's a giving and taking. It's like the student becomes a teacher, the teacher becomes a student. It's actually pretty nice to watch. Okay. But yes, he's young, he's knowledgeable, he's helped me. But also, like I said, you can also see his youth that sometimes when he speaks, but like again, that's a beautiful thing. I hope he keeps that as he's ascending, and that yes, he continues to honor his feminine counterparts in his life, like his mother and his auntie, who he has also mentioned before on his page. Okay, but yes. And it's the older people too that are just on here, like myself, who are just kind of just telling you, hey, this might happen, this has happened, you know? Sankufe, go back to the past. We are here waiting to teach where we can teach. Okay. And thank you guys for also doing your work in order to ascend past certain paradigms that were placed before us. Okay. That some of us didn't make it through yet. So we're grateful that you had come into the earth with fresh eyes and able to knock down certain mental blockages. It's very, very helpful. So thank you, Starseeds, for doing that work. I really appreciate that God has sent yourself manifest itself. Your mother. I'm very grateful for your mother. I'm very grateful for your mother, who was a daughter at some point. Okay. I'm very grateful for that existence. Okay. Shout out to Foster too. You guys are trailblazers. You were planted in rich soil. All right. Let me close this out.